Most High God comes first. We're gonna talk a little boxing, man. We're gonna talk a little boxing. So, update. Turkey Al Sheikh. He's expressed on the Boxing Voice that Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev is probably not on because first of all, he really didn't want to see this third rematch like most people. But he promised Artur Beterbiev that he would get the rematch. Then Beterbiev and Bivol said that they would gain a bigger offer in Russia. So he said, "Go ahead, do your thing." But that backfired, and so they came back to him, and he was expressing how he truly feels, and he said like you know let's see somebody else first. So looking like the winner of Anthony Yarde versus uh, 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 Benavidez, David Benavidez, the winner of that uh, would face one of those guys, probably Bivol. You know what I'm saying? And then if Bivol beats, the winner of Anthony Yarde versus David Benavidez, maybe he can come back and do a rematch with Artur Beterbiev, especially if Beterbiev could get a win under his belt too. Now that was not how it was originally planned, but that's kind of like how it's going, it seems. And so I wanted to just share that with you guys, hear what your opinions and views on that is. You can put it in the comment section below, or you can put it in the chat section. I can't see the chat just like that, but I guess I could go up on YouTube and have a look at my own chat. So I might do that and see what you guys saying up in there in a minute, all right? But yeah, that's what's up. Now, to be honest with you, David Benavidez beating Anthony Yarde is not a given. I'm gonna tell you why. Anthony Yarde has fought bigger, stronger guys. Remember, Anthony Yarde fought Sergey Kovalev, and then he also fought that killer, uh, uh, Beterbiev. He been in the ring with both of them guys, and Anthony is a big, strong guy. So David Benavidez better know what he's going up against. Otherwise, Anthony Yarde might just pull the upset and beat him. In which case, then it would be Anthony Yarde versus Dmitry Bivol. I don't think Yarde has ever fought Bivol, so that would be an interesting. That David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde fight. That thing is a bona fide, strong, big, uh, you know, light heavyweight. He ain't no small light heavyweight, and Benavidez better know what he's doing because I'm telling you right now, activity ain't gonna be enough to deter Anthony Yarde. Anthony is a big, strong guy. Um, you know. So we're gonna see. That's a true test for David Benavidez. That's a genuine test for David Benavidez. This is a good fight. Yes, Anthony Yarde lost to Sergey Kovalev, but we all know he had Sergey Kovalev in trouble, and he was the guy that really also he made Artur Beterbiev fight hard. So if Anthony Yarde brings what he brought to the table with them two fighters, with a guy coming up in weight who's, he ain't showing exceptional power at the weight class. If David Benavidez don't have no pop and power to keep Anthony Yarde off of him, Anthony Yarde will run through him. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know now. This ain't the same. Anthony Yarde is a big, strong light heavyweight. Okay, so this is actually a true test for David Benavidez. And if David Benavidez can somehow get past Anthony Yarde, I mean, who knows what could happen? The sky's the limit for him. So I'm telling you, that's a genuine, true test David Benavidez is going to be dealing with here. And I'm telling you right now, this ain't no cakewalk. This is going to be the baptism of David Benavidez into the 175-pound division. The last fight we saw was David Morrell, who I thought they gave the decision to. I thought the other guy beat the brakes off of David Morrell. I think he even dropped him. Again, a true light heavyweight. David Morrell not a true light heavyweight, coming up from super middleweight. David Benavidez is not a true light heavyweight. He's coming up from super middleweight. So these guys, what they could have bullied and beat up guys being significantly bigger than them at lower weight classes, they ain't gonna have that advantage coming up into this weight class. So this is gonna be interesting. Let's see how David Benavidez fills out. Let's see how he fares with Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde ain't no slouch. Okay, he's no slouch. So this is gonna be an interesting fight as well. So I'm looking forward to it. The winner will get probably Dmitry Bivol, and then after that, I don't know. I think Beterbiev, he already fought Anthony Yarde. It's the winner against Beterbiev. Benavidez versus Beterbiev is going to be a good fight. Beterbiev is another guy who's big. He really strong. Again, that's a tough fight for David Benavidez because David Benavidez is about activity, throwing a lot of punches, that kind of thing. His power ain't translating up this division. He don't got the kind of, bullyism that he had at the lower weight class. So these guys can take a lot more and they can dish out a lot more. So this is an interesting challenge for David Benavidez. I'm not gonna lie. He probably doing strength training and all of that stuff to try and really get up to speed with the division, but it's gonna be interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see how he performs against Anthony Yarde, and we'll see if Beterbiev gets some other fighter. I don't know. I don't know if David Benavidez will have to go the route of Beterbiev or Bevo. We'll see. This may be Anthony Yarde's opportunity to get a world title because I think the WBC is open right now. So I think they're fighting for the vacant WBC. So that should be interesting, man. Okay. So I want to just go into one more topic here, which is the sleeper topic. Let me see here. I'm not going to do this. All right. So people think this is a given, but it is not a given. All right. It's not a given. Now, I was speaking yesterday about basketball, boxing, and about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan called Isaiah an asshole, but he didn't call him an asshole in real time. He said he behaved like an asshole when he didn't shake their hands, and his whole team didn't shake their hands. He's supposed to be the leader of the team. I think Joe Dumas stuck around to shake their hands, and John Sally, and you know. People say that Jordan shouldn't have called Isaiah an asshole, but no, he did move like an asshole. The whole team moved like an asshole, right? The Detroit Pistons, and that's why he called him that. He admitted that when the selection committee came to him, and when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird came to him and asked him to come on the team, he said, "Is Isaiah on the team?" And they said no, and he said, "All right." Because Jordan wasn't going to go on the team if Isaiah was there. Because to this day, Isaiah Thomas constantly throws jabs at Michael Jordan, claiming that he wants some sort of resolution to the conflict between them. I remember Charles Oakley saying to Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan is never going to apologize to you. He's never going to be your friend. And you trying to say that LeBron's better than him and everybody's better than him. Well, guess what? You're not better than him because his team beat your ass twice. Right? I'm gonna say this about Isaiah Thomas. I think he's a hell of a basketball player. I think he knows basketball inside out. I mean, he was a phenomenal dribbler of the ball, carrying the ball up the stuff and all of that. But Isaiah Thomas, to this day, keeps on trying to play mind games with people. Like Charles Oakley said, he's sneaky, He'll say, I never did this. He'll deny something, but he's not about being honest. So I saw Isaiah throw jabs at Scottie Pippen and then turn around and say Scottie Pippen was a great player. So, this is the kind of guy that Isaiah Thomas is. He's going to twist things and word things so that he can get some sound bites, and on top of that, throw some jabs at Michael Jordan because Jordan kicked their ass. You know what I mean? The Detroit Pistons, and they obviously did not like that they lost, right? And to this day, they real salty about it. But hey, it is what it is. Jordan's team kicked your ass, not Michael Jordan particularly. His team. He was considered one of the leaders of the team. And Mike, I'll be honest with you. Michael Jordan is a straight shooter. He gonna tell you as it is, right? He don't sugarcoat nothing. He gonna tell you as it is. That's Michael Jordan. All right. Some people like him. Some people don't like him for that. Um, he was a very competitive guy. He's still very competitive to this day. Everything's a competition for him, kind of like Terrence Crawford. And Michael Jordan's a guy also who will bully you. He bullied Luke Longley. He was like, "Man, you got to get more killer instinct in you. You got to get more aggressive as a center." And as a result, he used to trash talk Luke Longley. He used to put him. I mean, he was brutal against Luke Longley. He was just real mean, right? Like getting bullied in school and shit like that. But that's to toughen you up, right? He was trying to toughen up Luke Longley. Luke Longley to this day, has repercussions about him where he still can't deal with people properly because he's still processing the shit that happened to him. You know what I'm saying? And they left out Luke Longley in the last dance. They left out a lot of people in the last dance. It wasn't just Luke Longley, and the way how they sort of because it was almost like Michael was narrating this fucking shit. The way how they categorized Scottie Pippen was just not cool. Like he was coming along and Scottie was getting developed. No man, Scottie Pippen had a lot of skill coming into the league. We saw him as a power forward. We saw what he could do. Ron Harper and Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant could do everything that Michael Jordan could do. Let's be real about it. All right, Michael was. Don't get me wrong. Michael was incredible, right? Michael used to do some creative plays and all that, but it wasn't something that Scottie Pippen and Ron Harper couldn't do. Ron Harper gave the Bulls a lot of hell with the Portland Trailblazers. Ron Harper was he was the guy that led the Portland Trailblazers, and they were going to kick the Bulls' ass. The final game, the Bulls made it past them, but I'm telling you right now, you know, there was a number of players in the league that could do things that Jordan was doing. They could do it, but I believe Michael separated himself from everyone else by his work ethic, particularly. And it was also a great thing that his much shorter brother, could do these fantastic things, and that's what you saw Michael doing. He was like the longer, bigger version of his smaller brother, and then he came into the league with shoes and with all this hype around him, just like LeBron James. So everybody focused on him, and he made everybody focus on him. He separated himself in that he would do these highlight reel things in scoring, particularly. So that's why Scottie Pippen, he outshone Scottie Pippen. And again, Scottie Pippen was an unselfish guy. Scottie Pippen was the personality where I want to see you shine. I'm gonna give you the ball, right? When Scottie took leadership of the Bulls, it was a bit different. Where when I say leadership of the Bulls, that is Michael Jordan wasn't there. You saw what he was. He was MVP material. He was MVP All Star. He showed us Scottie Pippen ain't no punk. That's why when Isaiah Thomas and all these other guys try to disrespect Scottie Pippen to get sound bites, to get clout, I find that stupid. Y'all know what Scottie Pippen was. Y'all know, and that's why I keep on going back to Scottie Pippen all the time. It's like when I talk about Danny Garcia, it's the same thing. These guys were silent assassins. These guys did things that were critical to games being won. And I don't care what anybody says. Michael Jordan's a hell of a player, but he wasn't going to do shit. He might have gotten maybe one champion. I don't even know. Without Scottie Pippen in that equation, I can't see him. Let me tell you something. Scottie Pippen with Shaquille O'Neal will put up more rings than Kobe did with Shaquille O'Neal. I'm just trying to be. D-Wade did with Shaquille O'Neal. Because these guys didn't do what Scottie Pippen did. Scottie Pippen did more than all those guys. You know, when people put D-Wade above Scottie Pippen, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? When they put Kobe over Scottie Pippen because Kobe won championships without Shaq, that's bullshit again. Because when you pay attention to what I'm saying, you will realize how much Scottie Pippen did in a game. And Kobe observed, a lot of guys observed it. So when you're talking about Scottie Pippen, y'all need to put some respect on the name, but that's not the point I'm making. I'm going to get to it now. Why did I mention Michael Jordan? Why did I mention Scottie Pippen? We're going to get to it. Full circle. Here we go.
This is Trump's first wife, Ivana. She was born in Czechoslovakia and
flopping off someone's thing.
This is
So if you got a problem with my opinion, whoever,
Right.
call my house. It ain't changed.
But I didn't hear you say anything disrespectful about Floyd.
I never do. I'm not the disrespectful
Right.
type of guy. That's not who I am. I'm the type of guy. The reason I'm not disrespectful is because when I say something, I'm ready to die for it. So if I say this, I'm willing to die for this. You understand me?
You stand
If I
on
say-
it.
I stand on it. You understand me? I'm not, like I said, I don't think LeBron is not a great player. I'm not one of the greatest players of all time. But if you ask me, in your opinion, my opinion, which I'm entitled to, you think LeBron and Mike, I'm going to say Mike because I saw what Mike went through to get where he got. So I got my own reason why I'm going to probably like Mike. I'm not saying that you're trash. No, you're not. I'm not saying you're not a great player.
Right.
I'm not saying you're not one of the top five. Because you could be that. You feel me? And in most people's opinion, you probably are. Some people's opinion, you probably top one. That's not, I can't say, oh, I'm right and everybody's wrong. No, that's just my opinion.
Right.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
Right.
But I will fight about my opinion. So if you got a problem with my opinion, whoever,
Right.
call my house. It ain't changed. So if you got a problem with my opinion, whoever,
Right.
call my house. It ain't changed.
Okay, so this is Roy Jones Jr. on Akron Barack. And he said some choice things about Floyd Mayweather Jr., you know. And I thought, hey, I'm gonna bring this full circle. I'm gonna use the basketball feature I talked about before. And it's interesting hearing Roy compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James. I'm gonna put it this way. LeBron James is like a modern version of Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen. Yeah. Okay. Bill Russell was a big guy, right? But he was team oriented. Michael Johnson was a big guy, but he was team oriented. Scottie Pippen was a big guy, team oriented. LeBron James is a big guy, team oriented. LeBron James has been with 3 different teams and brought 4 different championships to 3 different teams. Michael Jordan has never done that. Scottie Pippen has never done that. Bill Russell has never done that. And Magic Johnson has never done that. Okay? Now you could talk how much you want about a game-winning shot. LeBron is a factor that makes teams win championships. Period. Think about what I'm saying now. LeBron with the Cleveland Cavaliers had very little support to be able to pull off championships, and he still did it. Now with the Heat, he had Bosh and he had D-Wade, right? So that was a little different. Same thing with the LA Lakers. He didn't have the best players in the league all the time. He had the best coach in the league in Phil Jackson, but he didn't really have the best players around him. But he managed to pull it off with Kawhi, right? Leonard Kawhi. Now, LeBron has done that with 3 different teams. Okay, 3 different teams. And that is incredible. It shows that his leadership skills and what he brings to the table gets teams, no matter what team it is, championships. Michael Jordan can't say that. He's been with the Bulls. He's been with the Wizards. He was unsuccessful with the Wizards. Scottie Pippen can't say that. Scottie Pippen was with the Bulls. Then he was with the Rockets. Then he was with the Blazers. Now, Pippen did better than Jordan. Pippen was able to carry each of these teams I just spoke about that he came on to championship. So, to the championship, sorry, to the playoffs and to the semifinals. Okay? Pippen's better than Floyd when it comes to making a team better. Okay? He is better than, not Floyd, sorry, better than Michael Jordan. All right? LeBron is better than Pippen in making a team better. He's been with 3 different teams. Pippen's been with 3 different teams too. But whereas Pippen could only get them so far in the playoffs, LeBron's gotten them all the way to a championship. You got to listen to me now. We're talking team dynamics. This is a team sport. So you got to look at who's been most effective on the teams that they're being on. You look at Magic Johnson, he's been with one team. You know, you look at Bill Russell, he was with one team. So them guys not in the equation either, right? So when you're talking about the most effective basketball player of all time, if you want to call it that, making teams better, LeBron wins that. LeBron wins that. Now, another thing that people say is, well, Michael Jordan, he had that killer instinct. You know, he take that last shot. Yeah, on all those things, you're right. Michael Jordan, give him the ball, he scored a ball for you, right? Kobe, same thing, right? Jordan wanted to be the man with the ball in his hands for the game winner, right? Jordan was a guy, you know, once he put his mind to something, he wanted to get it done. You know, if I got to shut down this player, I'm going to shut down this player, etc. Right? Jordan didn't consistently pick the best players to shut down. Scottie Pippen was that dude. Okay? Pippen was different. Magic Johnson didn't play defense like Pippen. Bill Russell, however, played defense like Pippen because Bill Russell played defense because he was a center. He was a big, tall center. So you ain't just getting through Bill Russell just like that. Right? But still, not to the extent that Pippen did. Pippen covered ground, covered the floor. You know, he would put on a full press on you. You know, Pippen did a lot more than Bill Russell, but Bill Russell was known for his defense, right? And not just Bill Russell, his whole team. They built it on that. But Pippen was better than Bill Russell defensively. I mean, Pippen's probably the greatest defensive fighter of all time in the NBA. This is not staggering it. This is real talk, right? And not only that, he was also one of the players who was a great rebounder, a great assister, and a great scorer. Pippen had an all-round game from defense to offense. Pippen was an all-round player. LeBron's getting there, but he's not as good a defensive player as Pippen. He's a great passer, great finisher. He's not a point guard. He doesn't bring the ball down the court. Pippen used to direct the traffic, carry the ball down the court, call the plays, right? So all around, skill set wise, Pippen was more skilled all around with skills, the amount of skills. He was more skilled than Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. Even though Magic Johnson used to carry the ball down the floor and direct plays, defensively, Pippen was way better than Magic Johnson in that respect. So when you look at, you know, Scottie Pippen and LeBron James and then Jordan, you have to ask yourself, what are you talking about? What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Because Scottie had a full package, right? More than Michael, which freed up Michael to do a lot of other things, you know, that was great for Michael. It worked really well, Scottie and Michael, and Michael imparted as much as he could to Scottie Pippen. And because they played against each other so much, they learned from each other a lot, right? And, you know, Michael saw Scottie as his equal. And that says a lot, especially in the second three-peat from 96 to 98. He saw Scottie as his equal. you know, and that's impressive. And he had a lot of respect for Scottie Pippen, you know what I mean? And he still does to this day. In terms of respect, Michael and Scottie Pippen, they respect each other. And that's why I will not hear Michael Jordan air out in public things that he and Scottie spoke in private. And Scottie also will not air out certain things in public. There's certain things Scottie just won't say. And there are other things Scottie says because there's literal video evidence of it, like Michael Jordan hoarding the ball and being selfish. Ain't no surprise, okay? Scottie Pippen was the more unselfish player, and everything Scottie did was strategic. You know, he was systematically doing something. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan was strategic as well, but not on that level, of a human level. That is trying to strategically get human beings to do specific things. You know, Scottie was that dude. And I think LeBron is something like that. So if you're going to talk about the GOAT in basketball, which is, like Scottie Pippen said so correctly, it doesn't really exist in team sports. You can talk about GOAT team, and Jordan doesn't get caught up in that either. Jordan's a really smart guy. He understands, you want to talk about the greatest, nah, you need to talk about the greatest team of all time, which Jordan is absolutely 100% correct about. You know, that's why Scottie Pippen could say, I'm the GOAT. I'm one of the greatest players of all time. He's right, because he was on one of the greatest teams of all time. So he's right to say, I must be remembered as the GOAT. He should be. So should Jordan. So should Dennis Rodman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Dennis Rodman is also another impressive guy who got guys to win championships. He's an underrated guy, and people don't talk about him much enough. Dennis Rodman was on the successful Detroit Pistons. He was on the successful LA Lakers, if I'm not mistaken, and he was also on the successful Chicago Bulls. And he won rings in every one of those. So this guy, Dennis Rodman, brought to the table, and he wasn't a big scorer. He brought to the table special skills that could carry a team to victory. And that's very important to understand. He wasn't as versatile as Scottie Pippen, but he brought certain skills to the table. Now, I say all of this to say, Roy Jones Jr. picks Michael Jordan over LeBron James. Scottie Pippen even picks Michael Jordan over LeBron. But then again, Scottie Pippen is always going to be biased because he played with Michael Jordan. So that's not, you know, he's going to say that. But if you narrow down what makes a GOAT, and you have criteria out there, now you got to really look at the criteria. You can't just say, oh, Michael Jordan was the GOAT because I saw him and he looked great and all. No, basketball has many facets to it. You see, I could argue that Scottie Pippen was a greater basketball player than Michael Jordan. I can argue it based on the fact that Scottie Pippen cared about the team succeeding, whereas Michael Jordan cared about winning. These are two different things. Scottie Pippen cared about individuals on the team and gelling the team together and bringing the team together because he had to call plays. They needed to trust him. They needed to be able to be comfortable around him. Michael Jordan never cared about those shit. He wasn't into the human side of things. He was completely about the basketball, about getting this team to win. That's all Michael Jordan was concerned with. He had no relationships with anybody on the team per se. He wasn't trying to gel with the team. And he was brutally honest about whatever he thought about anybody on the team who wasn't performing up to par after a significant number of times. There was a clip on YouTube. I want you guys to check this out. So Scottie Pippen passed the ball to one of the old team members at the time. This was the first three-peat. And the team member fumbled the ball, didn't get the ball into the hoop. Do you know what Scottie did the next play? Scottie passed the same guy the ball so that he could redeem himself. That's Scottie Pippen. You fumble the ball with Michael Jordan, he's not passing the ball to you ever again for the rest of the game. That's the difference between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And in that regard, Scottie Pippen and LeBron James trump Michael Jordan. Trump him. Okay? Because these guys could go on any team and get the team in, not just into the playoffs like Michael Jordan did, but he can motivate the team to be better. Get deep into, like into the conference finals or the semifinals, or even a championship, because LeBron got them to a championship. 3 different teams. Because of their mentality. The mentality of LeBron, the mentality of Scottie Pippen, the mentality of Magic Johnson, sorry. Michael Jordan couldn't do that. He needed a Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan playing with LeBron James would be a peer in heaven, because LeBron cares about players dominant like Michael Jordan, bigger than Michael Jordan. That pair would have definitely raked in a whole bunch of championships, because LeBron played a position that complements Michael Jordan, and his mentality would have complemented Michael Jordan's rigid mentality. LeBron James and Kobe Bryant playing together, match made in heaven. Because one wants to win, and the other one can facilitate that win while building a team. LeBron is a team builder. He's a guy, he gonna get you results with a team because the team gonna improve. Scottie Pippen's the same kind of mentality. You want to talk about the most valuable player in the league? Scottie Pippen was that guy during Michael Jordan's time, during that time. Scottie Pippen. You hear the Pistons say, they keep on saying it over and over, and that's why I said, y'all underrate Scottie Pippen. They got Jordan under lockdown. They got Horace Grant under lockdown. They didn't know what the fuck to do with Scottie Pippen. They didn't know. This guy was like an enigma. This guy gave them hell. When Scottie stepped up his game, bulked up a bit, he was fucking unstoppable because he played every single fucking position in the fucking league. Scottie could be power forward. Scottie could be 2-guard. Scottie could be point guard. Scottie could be center. Scottie could play all these positions defensively and shut down people. That was the problem. Scottie was more skilled than Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was more flamboyant. He was more refined. When Michael Jordan did a dunk, it looked fantastic. Don't get it wrong. Scottie Pippen could dunk too, and he dunked nasty. Scottie used to dunk nasty. Jordan had some more refinement. He'd do some beautiful layups and shit. Scottie was nasty. When Scottie dunk on you, he dunk on you. Your ass be knocked down on the ground. Ask Patrick Ewing. Ask what's his name? From the Miami Heat. I forgot what his name is. These big centers, man. These strong centers. And don't get me wrong. Patrick Ewing had his, slap Scottie's ball out of the plays, bully Scottie. I forgot what his name is. I'm trying to think of Miami Heat dude. I forgot what his name is. Scottie Pippen was a bad motherfucker. And y'all just don't understand that. And that's why I keep on talking about him. Penny Hardaway was pretty. I liked Penny Hardaway. He was evolving as a fighter. Another fighter I love was T-Mac. These guys seem to be under the shadow of guys like Shaquille O'Neal, guys like knock on wood, what's his name? Fuck. Vince Carter, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Garnett with the Celtics, raked in some championships too. Kevin Garnett, But Kevin Garnett is another player who passed the ball. He was unselfish. He make the plays that need to be made, but, himself, but most of the time he passed the rock. These are guys that are special in the league, and love the sport. You know what I mean? So when people say, well, Michael, there's night and day between Michael and LeBron, it depends on what you mean. Who is more important to the teams? When you ask yourself that question, it becomes a different conversation. Visually speaking, Jordan was ahead of everybody, right? The highlight reels is incredible. But with all that highlight reel, without the proper support, Michael Jordan wasn't doing shit. He would have been just a highlight reel, and that's the truth. And Michael was Great player, but the mentality wasn't the one to build a team with. You see? Now, Pippen would say, oh man, I would need Jordan playing with me. But Jordan, having another Jordan on this team, Jordan with Jordan, Jordan playing with Jordan is not going to produce championships. Get what I'm saying? However, LeBron playing with LeBron will produce championships. Pippen playing with Pippen will produce championships. You get what I'm saying? So that's the thing that people don't get. And I just wanted to speak on that because Roy Jones Jr. brought up, for him, in his opinion, Michael Jordan is the GOAT. LeBron is far second. And a lot of people would tell you that. That's a common thing because when you watch Michael Jordan play, motherfucker was crazy. He looked really good. Some of the plays that Scottie Pippen did, even that LeBron do, when Jordan do it, he do it with swag, with flair, with all his heart in it. So it looked really good, right? And we seen Jordan do some things we never seen before in basketball. So, all of that makes Jordan great to watch. But just like with boxing, there's stuff that the casual fan does not see. And clearly they don't see what Scottie Pippen been doing to facilitate that. Usually when Michael Jordan break away on a steal, it's because Scottie Pippen intercept the person, knock the ball away, and Jordan just happened to be in the vicinity, either because he was double teaming or what, and he is able to continue to play. Or Scottie knocks the ball away, and Michael Jordan starts sprinting down the court, and Scottie alley-oops the ball or throws the ball to Jordan, and Jordan has to do what he got to do. I'm not saying that Jordan didn't make plays, but I'm talking about defensively, like coming off the defense of a steal or something. And don't get me wrong, Jordan used to steal as well. He was a brilliant stealer. I'm just saying, a lot of times Jordan benefited off Scottie Pippen's defense because Pippen was the rock under which the whole team was built around. If y'all really think about it, I know Jordan was supposed to be the man, and they used to call it Jordan's team because basically they built the team around Jordan, they said. But when you think about it, the guy who was fundamental to that team's success was Scottie Pippen. And a lot of people just don't see that, but that's what it was. And so I say this to say, a lot of you fans out there enjoy Michael Jordan. He was very entertaining. He was probably one of the most entertaining basketball players of all time. All right, he was very entertaining. But you have to understand, there is the unflattering part of basketball that you're not paying attention to. The defensive side, rebounding side, the steals, the setting the play style as a point forward, because Scottie Pippen was a point forward, right? There's the assists, passing the ball to people, to get them into the game. Pippen brought also that intimidation because Pippen kept that defense. Pippen would rotate from one person to the next, double team him here, double team him there. He knew how to work that triangle defense, and the person who milked the triangle defense that Phil Jackson had was Scottie Pippen. He understood how to run those screens. He knew how to play the plays. He knew it like the back of his hand. He and Michael Jordan, they used to double team people all the time, and that's how they used to get the steals. But Pippen was the guy that really started it against the Los Angeles Lakers, and he put that full court press. Michael Jordan knew what Scottie Pippen used to do, and Mike respected the hell out of Scottie Pippen's game. He knew Scottie Pippen was, phenomenal. What he did so much. Scottie Pippen was a guy that whatever you needed, he could come up with, and make it possible for the team to win, and that's why. He was more important a piece for the Bulls' success in championships than Michael Jordan was. Because you could replace Michael Jordan with a LeBron James. You could replace Michael Jordan with a Kobe Bryant. You can replace Michael Jordan with a Shaquille O'Neal. And we could go on and on and on. Who you could replace him with? Scottie Pippen would still be the most important guy to get that team further. You see what I'm saying? Now, you can't do that in reverse. You can't say remove Scottie Pippen and well, you could, I guess. You could put LeBron with Michael Jordan, and they probably would win a couple championships. You know what I mean? LeBron doesn't do as much, but Jordan would have to pick up on the D a little bit more. Who else? Who else? I don't know. Jordan. I don't know. They very few people who's a point forward that did defense like Scottie Pippen. You know, like we said, he's the greatest defensive player of all time, probably. So that's why I said Jordan gonna have a harder time finding somebody to fill Scottie's shoes than Scottie having a hard time filling Jordan's shoes, because Jordan was more of a scorer. He was more of a scorer, and Scottie with LeBron would be a match made in heaven. Scottie with Kobe would just be the same, almost the same as Scottie with Jordan, because Kobe had the same mindset as Jordan and everything. Scottie knew how to deal with Jordan. So you could see Kobe doing it. Scottie with LeBron would be great. That team would be great. Lots of passing, lots of playmaking. So that would be fun as well. Scottie with Bird would be fine. What I'm trying to say is Scottie could play with anybody. LeBron could play with anybody, and he could still make the team better. Jordan couldn't just play with anybody. He needed somebody who was unselfish on his team, somebody who would give him the ball, somebody who still would distribute the ball to other members to get him into the game. Jordan needed that kind of player. Jordan with Magic Johnson, for example, that would be a match made in heaven. Jordan with LeBron James, match made in heaven. Them two playing together would have been fun. But LeBron wouldn't be bringing the ball down the court. He's a power forward. So still had to get somebody else to bring the ball. Scottie brought all that stuff to the table. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of harder to get somebody to match up with Jordan than to get people to match up with Scottie Pippen. Because you always have scorers, right? Pippen's a guy who could score himself, but he worked with everybody. That's the difference. Scottie Pippen could put up 30 points per game like he did in 1994. But he also passed the ball around and have like 15 assists. Scottie Pippen was a guy who also got rebounds. Scottie was also a guy that stole things from you. He shut down fighters. That's what Scottie Pippen was. So Scottie Pippen was much more all-around player than Michael Jordan was. But again, Michael Jordan was this phenomenon and everything, so everybody kept the attention on Michael Jordan. But Scottie Pippen was quietly changing games. And Jordan is very much aware of that because he knew what it was. Now, Jordan likes to talk about pressure carrying a team. Jordan wasn't carrying no team. When he was carrying a team, he could only get as far as the playoffs. Pippen shared the burden with Jordan carrying the team. Pippen did most of the work with the team. Think about what I'm saying. So when Michael Jordan left suddenly and went into baseball, and they pivoted to Scottie Pippen, remember, that wasn't a plan. They didn't build a team around Scottie Pippen, none of that. That wasn't the plan. So Pippen ended up with the team. Look how far Pippen went. And again, on a technicality, on a referee's decision, Pippen and his team didn't make it into the finals of the playoffs. But they surely were going to make it into the finals had they got past the Knicks. Well, a close fight, close competition. But, it was not on any fault of Pippen that they didn't go further on. It was a referee's call, and Pippen had to live with that. And my point being that that's how important Scottie Pippen was to the league, to his team, and so on. So when you talk about the GOAT conversation, like Pippen said, there ain't no fucking GOAT. It's a team sport. There ain't no GOAT. You could talk about the most valuable player on a team, who you would like to play with you, but there ain't no GOAT. And Jordan never once spoke about the GOAT, that he was the GOAT. Jordan never said that. You know why? Because he knows the GOAT don't exist. They're great teams. And he thinks that his team was the greatest team ever, which he could make a case for that. So even Jordan doesn't acknowledge himself as the GOAT, which is very humbling. And again, Michael Jordan, straight shooter, straight guy. All right, he ain't trying to cut corners. He's pretty raw with how he speaks. But he ain't wrong. He's not wrong. He knew what his strengths were for the team. It's about pushing them. And Scottie Pippen, his job was to gel the team together. You know what I mean? Jordan was brutally honest. At times, he got into fist fights and shit with different members of the team. Whereas Scottie Pippen wasn't that kind of dude. Nobody was trying to get in fist fights with Scottie Pippen, right? So, I say all that. I remember seeing a video where Oakley was slapping up Scottie Pippen and shit, embarrassing him in front of everybody. Scottie was a skinny guy at the time, but Scottie was a bad motherfucker when it comes to playing basketball, Well, Oakley was a joker, but also he was kind of abusive. He was kind of like a bully. You know what I mean? But I saw what Scottie Pippen did to Oakley eventually with the Knicks versus the Bulls, man. Scottie Pippen, I mean, Oakley was a bad boy. Don't get it wrong. Scottie Pippen dunked on his ass. You know what I'm saying? Pippen was he wasn't no punk. I'm just letting y'all know. He wasn't no punk. And we know that today. And Scottie Pippen ain't saying nothing crazy when he says, I'm the greatest of all time. If everybody's talking about greatest of all time, I'm the greatest of all time. I was on the greatest team, so I'm the greatest of all time, just like Michael Jordan. And you know what? Pippen ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. You know what I'm saying? All right. So when Roy Jones Jr. talks this stuff, you begin to realize, okay, Roy. And Roy trying to get a fight with Floyd. He trying to get some money. You think Floyd's taking you on, bro? Floyd's not taking you on. And Roy saying, was I disrespectful to Floyd? No, I wasn't disrespectful. I was just expressing my opinion. No, you being disrespectful, motherfucker, on the sneak. You being disrespectful on the sneak. And I'm going to show you something for you guys out there. You sneak this in Floyd Mayweather. That's what you motherfuckers be doing. It's called sneak dissing. Talking about you didn't do the game right and you didn't come up right and all that shit. Get the fuck out of here, Roy. I love me some Roy Jones Jr., but get the fuck out of here, Roy. You know what I mean? Maybe they're building to something. I don't know. Roy versus Floyd. That'll be, I don't want to see no Roy versus Floyd. But hey, if they want to do it, fine. They old men, though. That's kind of funny. Hey, man, I don't care. I don't care. Roy versus Floyd. Let's do it. Roy is 200 and something pounds. He probably think his size, he'd be able to do something with Floyd. I don't think so. You just gonna get beat up, Roy. You don't got no legs. The fuck? You gonna get beat up so bad, but Floyd will embarrass you and beat you up? That would be bad. I don't want to see Roy go out like that. That's the problem. I don't want to see Roy go out like that. You know how bad that would be if Floyd was to knock out Roy? That would just not be cool. And Roy can get knocked out, by the way. That's why I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all. Roy Jones Jr. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So Roy started critiquing Floyd's resume. He was saying some things that wasn't true. I don't know if I talked about this before. I probably did. But I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to show y'all something. So this is what Roy was talking about. He said, Floyd Didn't do it right. You should have done it right. Okay, let's go. I'm not gonna recap certain things, but I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off. So the first dumb thing that Roy said was that Floyd faced Manny Pacquiao way too late. After Manny Pacquiao getting knocked out by Marquez. Hey man, should have fought him when it was fresh, back in 2010, I think it was, right? All right, let's leave that. Pause for a minute. First of all, Floyd Mayweather fought Gennaro Hernandez when he was 21 years old. Everybody thought Gennaro Hernandez was too seasoned for Floyd. Floyd hadn't faced anybody on Gennaro Hernandez's level, and Floyd beat his ass. Beat his ass. Okay? Now, note, Gennaro Hernandez, great fighter, gave Floyd an opportunity of a lifetime, had gotten beaten by Oscar De La Hoya about 3 years earlier. Now, he had moved up. He had moved up to lightweight, and he fought Oscar De La Hoya for the WBO lightweight title. So that was not his weight class. He went up a weight class trying to challenge himself, even though he was old. And Oscar beat the brakes off of that motherfucker. He beat him up. He retired. His brother threw in the towel, and he retired. All right, that was 3 years earlier. I want to mention that because it wasn't just Floyd that beat him, okay? Now, he had been undefeated up to that point. And he beat guys like Jorge Paez. He had beaten guys like Daniel Lundas. And you got a bunch of Mexican guys here. All right? Okay, so he jumped up. He was undefeated. He's 32-0. And he fought Oscar De La Hoya. Okay? And Oscar De La Hoya stopped him. He came back from that, went back down to super featherweight, which is his division. He fought Azuma Nelson, who was a bad motherfucker, right? This is the guy knocking out everybody. And he beat Azuma Nelson. And comprehensively beat him too. They said split decision, but he comprehensively beat Azuma Nelson. And then he fought future world champion Anatoly Alexandrov, and he beat him. Then he fought future world champion Carlos Hernandez, and he beat him. Then he fought Carlos Serena, and then he faced Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather, of course, stopped him in 8 rounds. His brother, again, throwing in the towel, ended his career. Everybody, it was so staggering because, Floyd just dominated, okay? Now, Mr. Roy Jones Jr. probably would say, oh, but he fought an old man. The dude retired right after Floyd beat him. Okay. But the point of the matter is, Gennaro Hernandez had beaten Azuma Nelson and 2 future world champions before he faced Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was looking good. And at the time, the people were saying, this ain't a good fight for Floyd, because Floyd was unproven. Floyd's first world champion, WBC championship, came against the veteran, the skilled fighter, 32 years old, Gennaro Hernandez. Okay? All right. Let's keep it moving. So this is where Floyd became a world champion. Now, I don't give a fuck what Roy say. You can't start off in 1998 being a world champion and maintain championship status for the rest of your fucking career? Get the fuck out of here. Not once? You didn't break from your championships after somebody beat you or something? No? Not even a draw? Get the fuck out of here, Roy Jones Jr. Roy makes it sound like Floyd was just fighting bums, right? Bums. When he's fighting world champions. He fought Gregorio Vargas, also known as Goyo Vargas, who was a world champion at featherweight. Fought Diego Corrales, got Tommy Hearns of the super featherweight and lightweight division. This man was a bad motherfucker. Okay? Put Jose Luis Castillo to sleep. Dominant lightweight. Something that Floyd couldn't even do to Jose Luis Castillo. Jose Luis Castillo was a dominant lightweight. And Corrales knocked him the fuck out when it looked like Castillo was about to knock out Diego Corrales. It was one of the greatest fighters, one of the greatest fights of all time. Diego Corrales is right now in the Boxing Hall of fucking Fame. Okay? Diego Corrales is one of the greatest super featherweights and lightweights of all time. He's not high up the list, but he's there. He's in that list. Okay? Carlos Hernandez, who became a world champion. Jesus Chavez, who became a world champion. He's fighting world champions, by the way. Jose Luis Castillo, everybody know he was a world champion. DeMarcus Chup Corley, who was a world champion. Arturo Gatti, a very action-packed world champion. All right. So these are the opportunities Pretty Boy Floyd got. He was hungry. He was always trying to face the best. Costa Zoo didn't want nothing to do with Floyd. He ended up fighting Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton beat his ass. Ricky Hatton didn't want nothing to do with Floyd at super lightweight. So what the fuck you talking about, Roy? Zab Judah. Another Hall of Famer. It's going to be in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Right? Carlos Baldomir, who beat Zab Judah. Oscar fucking De La Hoya, an all-time great, faced everybody. Ricky fucking Hatton, the guy that beat Costa Zoo and dominated super lightweight. He dominated super lightweight. He was knocking super lightweights out left, right, and fucking center. Then went up to welterweight and beat Louis Collazo, a motherfucking difficult lightweight, super welterweight to beat. Shane Mosley had problems with him. Berto had problems with him. In fact, Louis Collazo recently upset Victor Ortiz, another world champion. You can't be fucking talking about shit, Roy, when this is what we're talking about here, man. The fuck you talking about, bro? Now we have Money Mayweather. Beats Juan Manuel Marquez, the man that Manny Pacquiao had the fits with his entire fucking career. This is the guy that knocked out Manny Pacquiao. He beat him. And he beat him so easy. And he beat him till people was like, oh God, we just hope Marquez make it to the final bell. It was a sound ass beating. Shane motherfucking Mosley. This is the guy that Roy Jones' student said almost knocked out Floyd Mayweather. What the fuck are you thinking, bro? If he did, how you mean almost knocked out? There's no such thing as almost out knocked out. You either knock the motherfucker out or you don't. And in this case, Shane Mosley was on the end of a fire stick when Floyd turned dragon and started beating his ass up. And trust me, Mosley was never the same after Floyd beat his ass up. I mean, it was an ass whooping. An ass whooping. Okay? So please stop that. Stop it. Stop it. Don't. I mean, Floyd beat him all around the ring. Was walking to him and just beating him up. Okay? So let's stop with the bullshit. Oh, Mosley was old. That's a fucking excuse, Roy. You fought old folks like Virgil Hill and Mike McCallum. Ain't nobody telling you nothing about that. You fought the weakest fucking heavyweight in the division, John Ruiz, instead of facing Lennox Lewis or Vladimir Klitschko. You said you wanted to face Evander Holyfield. Why? You said it was the right fight. So shut the fuck up, Roy, because Mosley was the number one welterweight in the world at the time. Ricky Hatton was the number one super lightweight in the world at the time. Carlos Baldomir was the number one welterweight in the world at the time. Zab Judah was the former number one undisputed welterweight in the world at the time. Arturo Gatti was the number two super lightweight in the world at the time. And I'm talking about knockouts now. He's knocking these motherfuckers out, right? Jose Luis Castillo was the number one lightweight in the world at the time. Okay, Diego Corrales was the number one super featherweight in the world at the time, and motherfucking Gennaro Hernandez was the number one super featherweight in the world at the time. You got two number one super featherweights he beat, one number one lightweight he beat. He beat the number two super lightweight in the world. He beat the number one motherfucking welterweight in the world twice. Former number one welterweight in the world once. And we ain't even done with welterweight. Let's look at it. Cause Roy, you be talking some shit, bro, that ain't making no fucking sense, bro. And I love you to death, Roy. And you're never gonna get me to hate you, but man, you talking out your ass right now. Now the world champion was Victor Ortiz. Then he fought the number one super welterweight in the world, Miguel fucking Cotto, man. What are you talking about? Miguel Cotto was done. If he was so done, how the fuck did he become lineal middleweight champion after that? Explain that shit to me. If he was so cooked, what's he doing winning a middleweight title when he's not even a fucking middleweight? What are you talking about, Roy? Canelo Alvarez was a good win. Shut the fuck up, Roy. Shut the fuck up, Roy. You know why Canelo Alvarez was a good win? Because Canelo Alvarez be pound for pound number one in the world, and he is the cash cow, and he's the undisputed super middleweight champion of the world right now. Not to mention there are multiple titles he's won in multiple divisions. About to face Terrence Bud Crawford, who is undisputably one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, because he's going for a three-peat of undisputed against Canelo. And I favor Terrence. I don't care what nobody say. I favor Terrence in this one. Canelo showed me he could be outboxed. That's one. Two, Terrence is not just going to outbox Canelo. He's going to try and hurt him. He's going to try and hurt him. Okay? I don't know if Terrence is using performance-enhancing drugs. I don't know. But what I do know is Terrence Crawford's going to try and jump up two divisions and fight Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is a beast. Nobody saying no. He's a bad boy. Okay? Even when Floyd faced him and beat him, he was a bad boy. Canelo is a bad boy. Terrence Crawford on another level, y'all. And it is what it is. We got to accept that. I was a Terrence Crawford hater. I'm not anymore. I was a Terrence Crawford. I had doubts about Terrence Crawford. That's been cleared up. You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford is a bad boy. Period. Now, Marcos Maidana, tenacious world champion. Then Manny Pacquiao. What can we say about Manny Pacquiao? One of the greatest to do it, right? Everybody agree. Any century, Manny Pacquiao would be great. Okay. It was too late, said Roy Jones Jr. He just got knocked out by Marquez. But Marquez always been his nemesis, though. Marquez knocked him down many times. And you know what's the funny thing? Roy didn't even know that Marquez was going to upset Pacquiao and beat him like that. Right? After that, Pacquiao was an advocate for random blood and urine testing outside of the commission's stuff. All right? And then all of a sudden, Manny Pacquiao came back. He beat Rios' ass. Timothy Bradley thought, he could knock him out. Pacquiao beat Timothy Bradley's ass. Beat Jesse Vargas, not Jesse Vargas, somebody else's ass before facing Floyd Mayweather. And everybody thought, oh, Pacquiao back. You forgot about all of that. Then the things that Manny Pacquiao did after beating Floyd Mayweather, getting back the WBO title over Timothy Bradley once again, and beating Timothy Bradley out of the sport of boxing. And then not only that, beating Jesse Vargas after that. And then after that, beating Adrian Broner, who's supposed to have Floyd style. And then after that, beating fucking Keith Thurman. Prime motherfucking Keith Thurman, who was a unified, once upon a time, WBC, WBA champion. And the number one welterweight in the world once upon a time. And after that performance, what the fuck are you talking about? Keith Thurman thought he could knock out Pacquiao. He thought he could do better than Floyd. And Pacquiao beat his ass. Beat his ass. Okay? So, and these are young fighters we're talking about facing Manny Pacquiao. Floyd was older than Manny Pacquiao. So what the fuck is Roy Jones Jr. talking about, man? He's talking out your ass, Roy. You're talking out your ass. Now, Floyd wanted to face Pacquiao in 2010. But Pacquiao wouldn't be as great as he is if Floyd had faced him in 2010. Yeah? So it worked out how it worked out. Didn't make Pacquiao any less great. You got your fucking ass slapped by Antonio Tarver, motherfucker. Slept. Did you stop your career? Oh, Roy's a broken man. No. You went on to fight, and Glenn Johnson knocked your ass out next. Then Danny Green up. Then you fought Antonio Tarver, and then you fought Bernard Hopkins. Valiantly. Then you moved up to cruiserweight. Got slept by Danny Green. Okay? And you've been getting slept since then. But you came back and you had an exhibition with Mike Tyson. You didn't get slept by Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's a bad motherfucker. And you didn't get slept by Mike Tyson. So what the fuck you talking about? Just because somebody got knocked out. If that's the case, Roy Jones Jr., Manny Pacquiao in his early career got slept by a fighter. He got slept. So we shouldn't even be discussing Roy Pacquiao. Pacquiao got slept a couple times in his career. He got slept a couple times in his career. Didn't Thomas Hearns get slept by Sugar Ray Leonard? But when Thomas Hearns faced Sugar Ray Leonard the second time, he knocked down Sugar Ray Leonard twice. Leonard said that was the toughest guy. I thought Thomas Hearns won that fight. So what the fuck are you talking about, Roy? Oh, Manny Pacquiao wasn't in his prime, wasn't in his peak, blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. Get the fuck out of here, Roy. You're talking up your ass. Your ass. Okay? You're not making no fucking sense, Roy. Manny Pacquiao performed greater. He did greater feats after Floyd beat his ass. Okay. Then Floyd faced Andre Berto, who was a former world champion. Y'all could say, well, he should have faced Andre Berto earlier on in his career. I agree. But Andre Berto kept on fucking up the money. Every time Floyd tried to face him, Andre Berto would get beat. Bad. Floyd tried to set it up. Berto was supposed to fight Victor Ortiz. Floyd was there ringside. Motherfucker got his ass beat. Second time, Floyd setting up to fight Andre Berto. He's in position. Robert Guerrero's the guy. Floyd's there. Berto gets his ass beat. So I say, fuck the titles and everything. Berto goes and faces what the motherfucker name? Let me see if I find his name. Jesus Soto Carras. Berto Donna ain't got no title or nothing anymore. All right. Gets his ass beat. Now he was beating Soto Carras's ass. And his arm, he destroyed his rotator cuff in his arm. He was fighting with one arm. Okay? But he got his ass beat, man. Soto Carras really beat him up. You know, he beat Josecito Lopez, knocks out Josecito Lopez, and Floyd said, you know what? Let me fight Berto. I always wanted to fight Berto. Okay. He also rematched Victor Ortiz and beat him. John Porter ran through him, though. The last one, Conor McGregor. All right, Roy, you got something you can stab at Floyd there. Except for this. Weren't you the guy that wanted to face Anderson Silva in a boxing match? So how can you be shitting on Conor McGregor, who was the guy in the UFC at the time. Floyd just following your model. So aren't you hypocritical when you try to say, well, this guy had no fights in this guy? So what? You was going to fight a guy with 3 fights, Anderson Silva. All right. I still push for you to fight Anderson Silva. You know, right now, I ain't sure if you could beat Anderson Silva. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is, Roy, this was your idea that Floyd was implementing. So you can't be against your idea unless you're being a hypocrite. Because you said it was about entertainment. Now, here's the thing. When you start poking shots at people, you need to realize that you might be projecting shit that you did in your career. So Roy's like, you know, I back 100%. Everything I say, I mean. Okay. Explain to me this then, my friend. You fought a green Bernard Hopkins, right? Our green Bernard, he was the executioner at the time. You beat a green Bernard Hopkins. You couldn't even knock him out. You were supposedly this guy with tremendous power and shit. You could knock out Bernard Hopkins. You beat him. Down the stretch, he was throwing a host of the flurries, and Bernard had to defend himself. Now, the thing is, y'all rematched. And all of those little tactics and strategies you was using back then, Bernard was much more astute to that. He beat you. He don't mind having another fight with you because he know he beat you again. He know what you are. Without them PEDs, you a one-trick pony, motherfucker. You beat this world champion here, Thulani Malinga, good African champion. So I'm going to give you props on that. You also beat James Toney. That's a real champion. That was a real champion. And James Toney was a great fighter. No doubt about that. He didn't move his feet properly. He was good at infighting, but he wasn't really good at moving around the ring and shit. So you got to goad him into doing something stupid, and you caught him off guard. And that's why you won that fight, because you dropped him. That's the difference. The fight was closely contested. You know. Then he fought Vinny Paz. Vinny Paz was good at the lower weights. Yes, he beat Roberto Duran twice. I'm not going to say no. And Vinny did some phenomenal things. But Vinny got him beaten by Hector Camacho and Greg Hogan and Roger Mayweather. He'd been beaten before. So I don't understand. You talking like, you know, Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Manuel Marquez. His nemesis, motherfucker. His nemesis. His fucking nemesis. Every fight Pacquiao had with Marquez, it was a thriller. His fucking nemesis he got knocked out by. That didn't destroy his career. Pacquiao had a great career after Marquez. Marquez didn't continue, but Pacquiao had a great career. Vinny Paz got beaten by Hector Camacho, Roger Mayweather, Greg Hogan. I could keep on going, okay? But Vinny Paz had a great career. You know what I'm saying? A great career. So I don't understand. You being hypercritical of Floyd Mayweather, and in your backyard, you doing the same shit. You doing the same shit. You a fucking hypocrite, motherfucker. That's one of you. And Vinny Paz is, by the way, a Hall of Famer. Okay? But you want to say that Cotto ain't an all-time great? Cotto who beat and become middleweight champion? No, listen, not even motherfucking Tito Trinidad was a middleweight champion. Cotto ain't an all-time great. Cotto wouldn't handle the stories in any age. What the fuck you talking about? Vinny Panzienza, you will argue, is an all-time great because he beat Roberto Duran twice. Okay? But Miguel Cotto don't get that shine. When Miguel Cotto went up 4 weight classes, right? Beat everybody, became world champion in every single weight class he was in. Not just world champion, but the number one motherfucking champion in every weight class he been in. Lineal champion too. But He ain't an all-time great, but Vinny Pancias is? I mean, come on, Roy. Come on, Roy. Mike McCallum. Mike McCallum. You beat Mike McCallum. Hall of Famer. All-time great. Great fighter. Great defensive fighter. Right? R.I.P. Rest in peace. Mike McCallum. Now, do you claim Mike McCallum as a win? And as a good win? Because here's the thing. Mike McCallum was world champion not but 2 fights before. He had just gotten beaten. And you was his second to last fight. Fabrice Tiozzo beat Mike McCallum, and that's how he lost the WBC light heavyweight title. He was WBC light heavyweight champion. Guess how old he was? Guess how old he was? He was old. He beat Jeff Harding. Mike McCallum was almost 40 when he won the WBC light heavyweight champion. Just like Archie Moore. He had a lot of longevity. When you faced him, Roy, I think he was 41 or something like that. Now, just because he was old, do you claim that win? Age ain't everything. The man fundamentally had great skills. He had great skills. You couldn't knock him out. You couldn't knock out the old man. The old man was just 1 fight removed from when he lost the WBC light heavyweight title. But you couldn't knock out that old man. You hardly could touch him, actually, to be honest with you. You said, oh, backed up because he was a great and everything. Fuck out of here. You tried to knock him out. You just couldn't. You couldn't knock him out. After Mike McCallum faced you, he faced James Toney after. Nobody has been able to knock out Mike McCallum. No one. You know why? He had defense. You was never going to knock out Mike McCallum, so stop the bullshit. Mike McCallum, if you're going to use that argument, Manny Pacquiao got knocked out, Shane Mosley was old. Though Shane Mosley was the number one welterweight in the division, having conquered super welterweight and welterweight, being 2-time pound for pound number 1 fighter in the world, came back, beat young Antonio, what's his name? Forgot his name right now. Margarito, right? Who's dominating everybody. And Shane Mosley comes in, beats his ass, knocks him the fuck out. But you want to say Shane Mosley was old? Roy, he wasn't old like you, where you was getting your ass knocked out. Shane Mosley was knocking out fools. You was getting knocked out. So you would say Shane Mosley was old, but Shane Mosley wasn't old at that time. Yeah, he was pushing close to 40. He wasn't old. You, when he was 35 years old, you was getting your ass knocked out from there on in on a regular. Not Shane Mosley. He had better defense than you, and you got a tougher chin. You then got beat by Montel Griffin. I don't think you got beat by Montel Griffin. Montel Griffin couldn't hold a candle to you. So that's bullshit. And to this day, that's a bullshit move by I think, in my opinion, you was undefeated. You beat his ass. You got DQ'd. That's some bullshit. You was gonna beat his ass. You gonna knock him out. So I don't buy that shit. I don't see that as a loss. Roy never had a loss against Montel Griffin. Fuck out of here. All right. Montel Griffin was a good defensive fighter, became a world champion because of default, by default. He's not really a world champion because you did not lose to him. Fuck out of here with these motherfuckers. Okay, you did not lose to Montel Griffin. Fuck them. We know better. But oh my God. You serious, Roy? You saying Floyd fight these old fighters, Floyd fight Manny Pacquiao after getting knocked out by Marquez, his nemesis, But homie. This is a legendary fighter, Virgil Hill. He's a legendary fighter, okay? Homie, you go out there and you say, here we go. You say Floyd fought a Pacquiao after he got knocked out. But motherfucker, not only did Virgil Hill lose to guys like Thomas Hearns, you fought Virgil Hill after he lost to Darius Michael-Chusky for the IBF and WBA titles and the WBO light heavyweight titles. And you fought him instead of Darius Michael-Chusky, man. What the fuck you talking about, bro? You fought a guy coming off a loss because he was a legendary fighter, and he was already an aged legendary fighter. He was in his 35, his late 30s. And you have the audacity to talk about Floyd facing Pacquiao getting knocked out by Marquez. Are you serious? You didn't even wait for Virgil Hill to fight a couple fights and get back to winning ways. Your motherfucking punk ass, instead of facing Darius Michael-Chusky, making the excuse that I'm going on foreign soil, they might rob me. Instead of facing Darius Michael-Chusky, the champion, the WBO champion, your punk ass faced Virgil Hill, coming off a loss. And you get credited for knocking him out. You get credited for knocking out Virgil. That's something that's on the highlight reels when you hit him with the body shot. You want to take credit for that. Saying that you didn't play the game right, Floyd. You didn't play the game right. You want to take credit for that. But Floyd fought Pacquiao coming off a knockout loss, even though Pacquiao came back and showed he cannot be knocked out by Timothy Bradley. He cannot be knocked out by other fighters, Brandon Rios. Seized back the fucking title, the WBO title. Said, give me that shit. Then, after being beaten by Floyd, turns around and starts whooping your ass. He said, Timothy Bradley, don't you ever think that you somehow is better than me. Knock him down twice. Knock down Jesse Vargas. Jesse Vargas fought valiantly, but Pacquiao beat his ass. Turned around, beat Adrian, the fucking problem, Broner. After Broner, they said Broner's like Floyd. Had Broner talking crazy. Oh, I beat that guy. This was for the hood. Broner never been the same since. Then took Keith Thurman, undefeated Keith Thurman, who said, I'm going to beat you. Floyd didn't know how to beat you. I'm going to beat you. And then knocked his ass down. Ended up winning the fight. You serious, Roy? Well, let's see. So Virgil Hill, after he was beaten by Roy Jones Jr., what did Virgil Hill do? Let's just see. He won the WBA cruiserweight title, knocking out the guy that beat him the first time, Fabrice Tiozzo. Then he lost to Jean-Marc Momek. He lost his cruiserweight title right after. And that's about it. He actually beat Donnie Lalonde, who was a good fighter, who had beaten our fighter in my country, Leslie Tiger Stewart. Lost to Jean Momek. Lost to Henry Mask and Ferland Aslan. And then he ended. So, hey, I'm going to give you the props in the sense that Virgil Hill went on to win a title after you beat him. But, bro, you were supposed to face Darius Michael-Chusky. You were supposed to face the winner of that fucking fight, man. You know, Floyd got so much flack for Carlos Baldomir beating Zav Judah, and Floyd went on to face Zav Judah. That he had to turn around and face Carlos Baldomir. Your dumbass never faced Darius Michael-Chusky. And this is Darius Michael-Chusky, by the way, from Poland. I'm going to show y'all something. Darius Michaelchewski lost his last 2 fights. He lost to Julio Cesar Gonzalez by split decision. And then he got his ass knocked out by Fabrice Tiozzo. Fabrice Tiozzo. This is Fabrice Tiozzo from France. Now, he looked funny, but he's a boxer, right? All right. Fabrice Tiozzo, by the way, he had 50 fights. He had 48 wins, and he lost twice. He lost to Virgil Hill, and he even beat Mike McCallum. He lost twice to Virgil Hill. So Virgil Hill style for some reason. Oh, no. Hold on a second. It was a split decision win, and then Virgil Hill knocked his ass out the second time. But Fabrice Tiozzo, by the way, Roy Jones Jr. never faced Fabrice Tiozzo, right? My point anyway is this, that Roy Jones Jr. never faced Darius Michaelchewski. And telling me another style beat Michaelchewski doesn't mean you would beat Michaelchewski. Oh, and the other thing is, you never fought him. So here you are critiquing Floyd facing Manny Pacquiao late in Manny Pacquiao's career and late in Floyd's career, and you ducked Darius Michaelchewski. But what the fuck? To face Virgil Hill, the loser. But what the fuck? So, brother, you need to just shut the fuck up about Floyd Mayweather. You did what you did. You have your legacy. Don't be trying to tell Floyd you didn't do it right. Because if doing it right is how you did it, motherfucker, you ducked. You ducked Darius Michaelchewski. Floyd didn't duck or dodge nobody. You can't look at no number one fucking fighter in any division and say Floyd ducked them. I'm coming across real harsh because Roy's reasons for not fighting Michaelchewski was he didn't want to fight in Germany because he felt the German judges wouldn't give him a shake. But motherfucker, that's if you did knock him out, you was knocking out people left, right, and center. So if you knock him out, what do you got to worry about? You was the knockout king. You was Captain Hook. You won't catch him unless you thought you couldn't knock him out. Unless you thought he was too good a fighter for you to just step in there, do your little tricks and your little shimmy shake and get him out of there. You fought Lou Duval, the guy that dropped your ass. You want to talk about Shane Mosley almost knocking out Floyd. Lou Duval almost knocked your dumb ass out. And you was in your prime, supposedly. Set up the blueprint for how to knock your fucking ass out. Think about what I'm saying, Roy, because you're not thinking. Antonio Tarver. All right, then. Enough said. Reggie Johnson, southpaw, really great fighter. Good win. Reggie Johnson not a Hall of Famer. Reggie Johnson's not an all-time great, but that's a good win. And that's my point. You trying to emphasize, oh, this guy's not an all-time great. Oh, this guy's not this. Oh, this guy's not that. Some guys don't become all-time greats. When you look at them as fighters, they're solid motherfucking fighters. And Reggie Johnson, look at his resume. He a solid motherfucking fighter. Do you know who Reggie Johnson beat, people? I'm going to show you. Reggie Johnson is a special fighter. He beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez. That's a world champion. Okay? I'm going to show you something. He lost to Antonio Tarver. Okay. By split decision. It was a close fight. All right. Reggie Johnson was a fucking good fighter. Lost to Roy. Lost to Castro. Again, by close. He lost to John David Jackson. John David Jackson was a good fighter as well. They may not be Hall of Famers, but I'm telling you, these motherfuckers were good fighters. If you put them in the throwback times, they'd have done something. They'd have done something. They might not have been the best fighter in it, but they're solid. You're talking about some solid fighters here. John David Jackson, another one. He beat Steve Collins. Reggie Johnson beat Steve Collins. Steve Collins beat everybody. Steve Collins get every scalp. Was a very good fighter as well. He lost to James Toney by split decision. People argue he beat James Toney in that fight. This is the guy we're talking about, Reggie Johnson. He may never be an all-time great. He may never be in the Boxing Hall of Fame, but this motherfucker fought some people. That's why I say he's a solid fighter. And he fought, he's kind of like Sean Porter, close fights. Just didn't get the nod. And Reggie Johnson certainly beat James Toney. He dropped him. The sick motherfucker that dropped James Toney. Now, Roy Jones Jr. beat Reggie Johnson. I think he put him on the canvas once. I can't remember. And Roy made Reggie look stupid as the fight went on, and then Reggie caught up to it, and then was competitive again. All right? Reggie Johnson is an underrated fighter on Roy Jones Jr.'s list. This guy and another guy, I'm going to show you who the other guy is. All right? So when I say this is a good win for Roy Jones Jr., he may not be a Hall of Famer, and he may not be all-time great, but this motherfucker was the goods. He was the real deal. Okay? This the man that should have gotten the win over James Toney. He was robbed. And James Toney never rematched his ass. I want you to know Reggie Johnson is the real deal. So this win that Roy had over Reggie Johnson, where he separated himself from Reggie Johnson, it was a clean-cut win. I'm telling you right now, that was a good win. Period. Okay? There are certain fights in which when you see the caliber of opponent you're facing, Reggie Johnson a better Hall of Famer than Arturo Gatti. He's a better Hall of Famer than, let me see, let me think about what I'm saying here. He a better Hall of Famer than Montel Griffin. Roy could not knock out Reggie Johnson. His defense was good enough. He's a better fighter than Montel Griffin. And Montel Griffin's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He got wins over James Toney, right? James Toney just didn't throw enough. But Reggie Johnson beat James Toney. I'm telling you, man, he beat James Toney. It's unfortunate that James Toney got that decision because Reggie Johnson should be in another sphere. He would have beaten one or two Hall of Famers. You know, because Reggie Johnson's, look at his resume. He a bad boy. So when Roy beat Reggie Johnson, styles make fights. When Roy beat Reggie Johnson, first of all, you know, Roy razzle and dazzle him early. And that's what got Reggie Johnson off. But then the fight started getting back to normal, a Reggie Johnson fight, after Reggie Johnson got the timing and speed of Roy down. And then it got competitive. But I'm going to tell you this. This cat, Reggie Johnson, he was a bad boy. Okay? He may not be... You see, there's some fighters, and this is the thing about boxing that I like to bring to people's attention, right? There are some fighters in boxing that will never be considered all-time greats. They will never be considered Hall of Famers. But when you look at their resume, I'm going to show you one of them. I'm going to show you another one of them. You know, one that didn't win a world title. I could think of several that were solid boxers. They never won world titles. But these were bad motherfuckers. Nobody wanted to really just face them like that. They were avoiding them and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know? It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me keep it going. These were all world champions. Richard Hall, Eric Harding, they were world champions. Julio Cesar Gonzalez, a world champion, competent guy, you know. Okay. Clinton Woods. You see this motherfucker right here? See this motherfucker right here? He was a bad boy. Clinton Woods. He couldn't take the punishment of Roy Jones Jr., so he retired. Kind of like what happened with Tim Tszyu over the weekend. But he a bad boy. You know, he lost to Antonio Tarver. He was more of an inside fighter, you know, bully you inside fighter. He beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez, Glenn fucking Johnson, and that was a hell of a fight. Y'all need to go watch that. He beat Julio Cesar Gonzalez twice. Oh, he fought Glenn Johnson 3 times. Okay, 3 times. Let's see. Lost to Roy Jones Jr. So he fought these guys after he fought Roy Jones Jr. I'm gonna show you some other guys here. Oh shit. I thought. Okay, that's it. So I guess after Roy, he fought them other guys. Okay, the high profile guys. And there was some great fights. Okay, but you see this guy? This guy was a quality win by Roy Jones Jr. And I really thought this guy was gonna give Roy a really good fight, but he kind of quit. He quit kind of like, you know, his corner threw in the towel. He didn't quit. His corner threw in the towel. He didn't quit. He had no quitting him. But he was starting to fade. And he brought a really decent fight to Roy. He just couldn't maintain it. Glenn Johnson managed to do what he couldn't do. But you see this motherfucker, man? I'm telling you right now, Clint Woods, this is a bad motherfucker. See, when I watch fights, I also watch at what fighters can do and what they can't do. And I see sometimes, you know, if they was to stick with what they were doing, they was going to get through. But of course, Roy did hit hard and you know, he was starting to work the body and shit like that. But this motherfucker had the right idea. And that's what Glenn Johnson used to beat Roy. Because he had that high guard and he just kept on walking to him. And, you know, Roy didn't have that kind of defense. And the thing with Clint Woods was very effective. Once he got Roy up in the corner, started wailing on him. That's the same thing Antonio Tarver did. That's the same thing Glenn Johnson did. These kinds of fighters, they have a style to beat Roy because once Roy is in close with you, he got a hard time. Once you start wailing on him, he don't have a really strong inside game. His inside game is clinch you up, lock you up. He don't know how to tie you up and fit shots in. He don't know how to angle his body properly on the inside. And this is the stuff Floyd got. I'm just speaking from a boxing perspective. Floyd got that. He got the angles cut off properly. He know how to slide into you. He know how to occupy you. You see what he did with Ricky Hatton. So y'all understand. Ricky Hatton would have destroyed Roy Jones Jr. if they was the same size. If Roy didn't knock out Ricky Hatton, like how Pacquiao did. You know, if Roy didn't knock him out, Ricky Hatton would have destroyed a Roy Jones Jr. If Pacquiao then pick him off and knock him out like the way hit Hatton you do a fake to the left before he come in, and Pacquiao timed that and he catch him with the left. You know, Floyd hit him with a check hook, Pacquiao catch him with the left. So, I mean, if you didn't know the floor to Ricky Hatton, he would gonna give you a hard night. He gonna give you a hard night, man. How was that dude? Well, Clint Woods was that dude. You know, I think after Tarver saw Clint Woods fight Roy, Tarver knew with a certainty he could beat Roy. I feel that's what was up. Because the way Tarver shelled up when Roy was throwing his things and then open out and start doing his thing. But you see, this is a good win again. You see these two guys I just mentioned, they're not going to be in the Boxing Hall of Fame. Reggie Johnson and Clint Woods. But I'm telling you right now, them boys was bad boys. Okay? John Ruiz used to get wins, but John Ruiz was beaten by James Toney. John Ruiz was beaten by a lot of people. I mean, when he beat Evander Holyfield, you know, I mean, that was probably the highlight of his career. You know what I mean? Beating Evander Holyfield he lost to Evander Holyfield the first time. Then he beat Evander Holyfield the second time, and then he drew with him. So he had a nice little trilogy with him there. He fought Roy Jones Jr. He lost to Roy. He beat Hasim Rahman, which is good. But he lost to James Toney. James Toney really beat his ass up. I'm not going to lie. He beat him up. He lost to Nikolai Valuev, Ruslan Chakaev. These were 2 world champions, by the way. He lost to Nikolai Valuev, and then he lost to David Hayes. So where's James Toney in all of this? Oh yeah, James Toney right there. So James Toney was the second guy to beat him, and then after Roy, and then everybody else started beating his ass. So his highlight of his career was really his trilogy with Evander Holyfield. I mean, he wasn't the best. He wasn't the best heavyweight in the world. The best heavyweight in the world at the time was Lennox Lewis. I'm gonna leave that alone. You know. Okay. All right. Then he beat Antonio Tarver. Nobody was satisfied with that because Tarver was beating him up in the corners. Roy couldn't come out the corners. The judges gave him the decision. Roy wasn't satisfied with that. They ran it back, and Antonio Tarver knocked his ass out in the second round. He came out of that fight and got knocked out by Glenn Johnson. And then he rematched Antonio Tarver, and this time, he was really going for the gusto. Tarver still beat his ass. People say Roy wasn't in his prime. He lost weight, coming down from heavyweight, and blah, 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 blah. A lot of excuses. Roy wasn't the same and blah. No, it was that Antonio Tarver had his number. And the style that Antonio Tarver used was similar to Glenn Johnson, was similar to Clinton Woods. He had a pressure fighting style and he had a tight defense. That's the difference. John Ruiz didn't have that. Antonio Tarver was the 96 team. He was, contemporary of Floyd Mayweather, and Tarver got defense on his mind. So he know how to shell up and everything. Really tight defense. And because of that, that's why he beat Roy. And he always gave Roy a hard time. He always gave Roy a difficult fight. Glenn Johnson, had that tight defense as well. So that's what's up. And then when you keep on going through Roy's career, he had a win over Felix Trinidad, even though Felix Trinidad dropped his ass. He dropped Joe Kawasaki, and then Joe Kawasaki proceeded to beat him up. You know what I mean? Danny Green. Danny Green was an Australian fighter. And by then, Danny Green knew what to do with Roy Jones Jr., how to knock him out and stuff. Danny Green was aggressive, but again, he had that high guard defense. Then he fought Bernard Hopkins, who used the high guard defense against him again. And Bernard Hopkins beat his ass. Then Denis Lebedev. This is at cruiserweight. I believe it wasn't for a championship. He went all 10 rounds, and then Denis Lebedev caught him with that right hand again and knocked him the fuck out. I mean, the dude went to sleep. You hit him in a certain place, and he just go to sleep. Same thing with Enzo Maccarinelli. Roy fought a lot of people, but when it comes to stepping it up to world-class level and above, he keep on falling short, and he wanted to get the cruiserweight title. And he old now. He passed his prime long time ago. He kept on fighting. The problem with Roy was he didn't know how to wrap up his career. He still don't know how to wrap up his career. He's still trying to get out there and fight, right? Roy fought until 2023, which is 2 years ago. He just fought 2 years ago. This motherfucker just keep on fighting. And Roy think this is some kind of game, bro. Your slurred speech and all of that shit. You gotta, I love you to death, but you need to stop, motherfucker. You're always looking for a fight, and I understand you come from the fight game, whatever. But man, you gonna get badly damaged in the head, bro. You got all kinds of things that gonna come up as you get older. You're gonna have memory loss and all that shit. That ain't right, man. I understand you come from the fight game. You can't be getting hit in the head like that all the time. Just can't. It's not cool. And you keep on getting hit with them right hands too. And I let you go punch drunk to sleep. You just hit the canvas lifeless. Don't like that. That's not cool. And You can talk about come see me. You telling Floyd, whoever, come see me. That's cool when you was fighting, bruh. You retired now. Train fighters. You good at that. You have a certain eye for the sport. You got lots of knowledge to impart. But bruh, getting in that fucking ring to have a real fight with somebody will get you seriously hurt, bro. Okay? And it don't take much to knock your fucking ass out these days. Because you ain't got no legs. You trying to rope-a-dope, and you don't know how to rope-a-dope properly. And you're going to get hit on that right temple again. Left temple, sorry. And you're going to go to sleep. And we don't need to see that. Okay? We've seen it enough. You know what I mean? I love you to death, Roy. And even though I have these harsh criticisms of your hypocrisy concerning Floyd Mayweather, your little brother, that's your little bro, man. You should be looking out for little bro. You should be talking up little bro. You know what I'm saying? Not manufacturing lies, bro. And inconsistent bullshit because you jealous little bro took what you wanted to do and made it happen. I know what it is, bro. I know what it is. It's just jealousy. For no fucking reason at all. Bro, you are the one that inspired little bro to do what he do. What is wrong with you, Roy? If you didn't put that blueprint out there, even though you didn't succeed, you put the blueprint out. What the fuck? Be a statesman. Stop trying to trash Floyd. Floyd is the embodiment of what you wanted to do. You need to stop that, bro. Yeah, Floyd dissed you. Oh, I'm watching you get knocked out the fuck out all the time. Yes, he disrespected you. No diggity, no doubt. But you've been doing this shit. You've been undermining this man's career, his money, because he makes his wealth off of the shit that he do. And you trying to undermine that all the time. Why are you doing that? Didn't he say that I wouldn't be here if were it not for the people who paved the way to where I'm at? Just because he said you depended on your legs for your defense, like Muhammad Ali. Listen, bro, you had phenomenal legs. PEDs or not. Motherfucker could go from southpaw to orthodox and spring into action. You was a bad motherfucker. Bro, we don't need convincing that you was a bad motherfucker. In your prime, you was the baddest motherfucker on the planet. It wasn't Floyd. We all know this. Everybody, it's common knowledge. You outshone Floyd. Right? Floyd wanted to copy you. Okay? You don't have to, there's nothing, you don't need to prove nothing. You don't need to tear down Floyd's career to make yourself look good. You done good. You one of the greatest boxers of fucking all time, bro. You don't have to convince nobody. You should be like George Foreman, bigging up little bro, because he's part of your legacy. He's doing what you wanted to do. He embodies what you should have been. It was taken from you with Montel Griffin, and I don't even fuck Montel Griffin and fuck these people, because you was gonna be 50-0. Right? But didn't happen that way. Right? You went up to heavyweight. You did some crazy shit. You went from super welterweight to fucking heavyweight. Nobody's done that before. Right? What we saw you doing in the ring, the antics, everything, the full package, the rapping, nobody did that before. Motherfucker, what is wrong with you? Don't you see Floyd borrow those shit from you? He was inspired by you. Money Mayweather, as a character, came off of you. You was the showman that inspired Floyd to be this way. So when you disrespect Floyd, you're disrespecting yourself. That's why I could turn around and say, what the fuck you talking about, Roy? It's not the way to go, man. You're a fighter, and I understand you want to fight Floyd or whatever, or makes a paycheck or whatever. But you disrespecting yourself, man. And you disrespecting Pernell Whitaker. And you're respecting Sugar Ray Leonard. You don't even realize it, but Floyd is a combination of these people. He's from that cloth. You do not disrespect your mentees. Just as your mentees are not supposed to disrespect you. I'm not saying Floyd was right for disrespecting you and showing all the knockouts of you, but it is fact. What you are talking about Floyd ain't fact. You have facts in there, but you didn't even walk the road that you trying to get Floyd to walk, which is unreasonable. And he was copying you. You want to bash Floyd for facing Conor McGregor. But you wanted to face Anderson Silva. He borrowing from your blueprint. The 50-0, that's your fucking blueprint, Roy. You was untouchable. They couldn't even touch you. I don't get this man. Why would you want to tarnish your own legacy by attacking another man's legacy? Have me going breaking down, showing how hypocritical you are. Because your issue with Floyd is he got true where you didn't. Man, if I was a slave on a plantation and I saw a slave get freed, that's what happened. Floyd got freed from the plantation. I'd be cheering that motherfucker all day long. Because when he got freed, we all got freed. There's hope. You was on that motherfucking plantation with this motherfucker, not Harold Letterman, Larry Merchant, that motherfucker. I hate him. To this day, I hate that motherfucker. I hate him more than Jim Lampley. And I watching them tear down your career. I watch that damn go in on you. And you're going to do the same motherfucking shit that Larry Merchant did to Floyd, your little bro. You for real, Ninja? Seriously? Why? I've always been a firm supporter of you. When I was doing my little boxing in the book, I love that you do a feint where you feint as if you're going to throw a jab and then you throw a hook. When I was young, I was practicing that shit. I love how you shift your weight from one leg to the next. To this day, I'm a fan of you. The shit you used to do with either hand, you would lead off of either hand. Motherfucker, you was a bad motherfucker. Bad motherfucker. I learned about lead hand dominance from you. So I don't get it. I don't get how the fuck you're going to look at a mentee who copied you. All Floyd did was copy your ass. He didn't bring nothing new to the table. He did it in his own way, but he copied you. You the man that made Floyd successful. He heavily relied on you. He looks at you. Floyd has said it time and time again. I love Roy Jones Jr. You know why he loved you? Because you the man, motherfucker. Not the other way around. There's a reason why Floyd never answered you. Because he knew, if I disrespect this man, this is the man I got all my shit from. I got my game from him. And that's what I don't understand. Roy, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And for those people out there who say Floyd didn't have the fundamentals, Roy didn't have the fundamentals down, you need to go watch Roy Jones Jr. in action again. Yes, he did not work on certain fundamentals like his inside game. He did not work on it. Should have worked on it more. But Roy Jones Jr. had the fundamentals of boxing down. Roy Jones Jr. chose to change up the game. People say, well, Roy didn't jab a lot. When he wanted to jab, he could jab. And he had an excellent jab. All right? It's just that Roy decided, well, I could switch my lead hand, and decide to fight with my power hand as my lead hand. And you see Floyd take that to the next level, because Floyd was a generation after Roy. So Floyd took it to the next year. He used to probe with either hand, his lead hand or his right hand, right? And there's a different stance to that. And that's why Roy was a southpaw killer. He basically annihilated most southpaws except for Antonio Tarver. But he mostly, annihilated most southpaws in the game, His defense wasn't bad, but his defense was mostly based on his legs, keeping a certain range and a certain distance. Floyd was a little bit more versatile than that. But, Floyd idolized Roy. He said it. I loved me some Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was my dude. And still is to this day, And nobody's questioning when Roy was in his peak, in his prime. It really didn't look like nobody could beat Roy. Okay? Nobody. I mean, nobody on the planet. You stack up Floyd versus Roy, and I thought, Floyd was like a mini Roy. And I thought, Floyd can't fuck with Roy. That's how I felt back in the day. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. Right? And I mean, he was superhuman. I mean, the shit he used to do against the caliber of opposition he was facing. I don't think anybody ever had a thought in their mind that, James Toney would beat Roy or Bernard Hopkins would beat Roy. Now we know Roy and he's slowed down and he's kind of fallible now. We could see and we say, oh, this is what, we never saw him in this situation. And when we saw what Lou Duval did to him, dropping him, and he looked so very vulnerable after that, it was like, oh, okay, so he's not invincible, but Roy Jones Jr. was a bad motherfucker, man, period. I like I said before, I can't lie. This man took boxing to a whole other level. People always get caught up in the greatest of this and the greatest of that and the best ever. I'm gonna make it. It's your contribution to the sport of boxing. Michael Jordan is seen as the greatest player of all time, right? But he benefited off of Scottie Pippen. And I'm not saying that Roy was no fucking Scottie Pippen. That's not what I'm saying. I think he was a Michael Jordan of boxing, just like how Floyd is a Michael Jordan of boxing in his era. But I'm saying he laid the foundation for Floyd to copy certain things that he didn't get through with and benefit off of it. But what Roy is missing is, if you wasn't there, if you didn't bring and change the game the way you changed the game, there would be no Floyd Mayweather. Period. Okay? Floyd was inspired by the shit you was doing. He tried to copy it in his own way. Floyd started throwing left hooks. Floyd was known for jabbing and shit. When he saw Roy Jones Jr. tearing up the scene, leaping left hooks, left, right, and center, Floyd started doing leaping left hooks. When he fought Diego Corrales and he dominated Diego, it was off of Roy Jones Jr., big Roy Jones Jr. fan. I mean, come on now. Captain Hook, Superman, fucking Roy, man. Y'all must have forgot. Y'all must have forgot. Yeah, he got knocked out. Yeah, he got knocked out. He hit the canvas a couple times. But this motherfucker changed the game. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's what makes Roy Jones Jr. so special. He took us to another level. He made our imagination soar. He made us see the game in an entertaining way. This motherfucker was entertaining as fuck. Fuck Larry Merchant. He was entertaining as fuck. He made boxing very interesting. And he wasn't a heavyweight. Roy Jones Jr. came up when Mike Tyson was coming down. And he carried the torch for years. for years. So I don't understand Roy going in on Floyd and trying to hyper criticize him when he knows he's being disingenuous about certain things. There's no reason to do that, Roy. I don't care if you want to fight with Floyd. There's no reason to do that. We know what you are. In my opinion, you one of the GOATs. One of the greatest of all time boxers. In my long list of greatest of all time boxers. You a bad motherfucker, period. Period. Right? You versus Thomas Hearns, I got you over Thomas Hearns. People are going to be shocked about this one. You versus Sugar Ray Robinson, I got you over Sugar Ray Robinson. Unless Sugar Ray Robinson, like Bernard Hopkins, used to use the high guard, which he don't do. Sugar Ray Robinson never used no high guard. She's going to beat his ass. Sugar Ray Robinson would walk into some shit, especially with that jab. He was jab dependent. That motherfucker, he would have taken some punishment before he figured out what you was about. Because he never seen nobody lead with either hand. You know what I mean? Quick like you. You know, he threw combinations, but he threw combinations in a very stereotypical way. You threw combinations in unique ways. You could carve him up off of different angles, all kind of how. So, you know, whether you faced him at middleweight or at light heavyweight or at super middleweight, I totally believe you would have toasted his ass. He'd have been beaten up bad. That's just my personal opinion, right? You versus Sugar Ray Leonard, you'd have bust up Sugar Ray Leonard's ass, man. You would have bust him up. He'd have got beat up so bad. At whether it's at super welterweight, whether it's at middleweight, whether Sugar Ray Leonard fought Donnie Lalonde at super middleweight, you'd have bust up his ass, right? But what did that prove, though? What does that prove? Beating up your teacher's ass? You're supposed to be better than your teacher, right? Somebody you idolize and love, you're going to be better than them. Because you will work twice as hard and so on. It don't prove nothing. You know what would prove something? If you was, say, go up against Terrence Crawford. You versus Terrence Crawford. And you could have beaten Terrence Crawford. That would be something. But you know something? I don't see you beating Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford would whoop your ass. He would. And you an incredible fighter. Terrence Crawford would whoop Floyd's ass. That's my opinion. And I'm not changing my mind. Okay? Because boxing as a sport evolves. It is what it is. You know that. I know that. We all know that. So, for me to say that Floyd's a better boxer than you, don't mean shit. You were more impactful to the sport of boxing. That's why Floyd's a better boxer than you. You succeeded at passing the torch so that now a Terrence Crawford can be better than Floyd Mayweather. It's about the next doing better than the one that was before. Why is this a fucking problem for you boxers? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Me saying Terrence Crawford will whoop Floyd's ass is not a knock on Floyd. It is the ultimate compliment when you can find a fighter that is doing something more than the fighter before them, the great before them. But you boxing fans are so ass backwards, you actually believe that the fighters before were better fighters than the fighters today. Okay, the fighters before, they fought longer. They had more rugged conditions. But the fighters today got more power, more speed, more quickness, more skill, more availability of knowledge available to them. So you put a fighter today in those gloves and those conditions, he might just kill the other fighter in the ring. Them guys was going. It was tough and everything. They didn't kill each other. Okay, fine. But you take the modern fighters today that are bigger, because they bigger. The weight classes is not same day weigh-ins anymore. They bigger. They fucking stronger, therefore. And on top of that, they hit harder. Believe it or not. Right? And they're more skillful. You put them in a ring to say go until somebody drop? Motherfucker. Motherfucker. With them kind of gloves? Motherfucker. You know they're going to kill each other. They're going to kill. People going to die. They're going to die. We've seen it in the modern age with all the precautions. We've seen fighters killing other fighters in the ring. Far less when they don't have the precautions. How much broken knuckles, how much broken hands, and how much people would have died simply straight up concussed. The reason they stopped how many rounds and they started limiting the amount of rounds doing is because fighters was killing fighters in the ring. They were killing them. And of course, a fighter's a fighter, so they ain't gonna quit. So it will fight to the bitter end till the last drop of blood's gone from me. That's what a fighter is. Right? So sport, I see over and over again. I've been saying this mantra for a long time. Boxing as a sport has evolved. It's changed. In some ways, it's changed in that, you know, it takes into the health and safety of fighters into account. So there's less rounds and less, you know, they use less equipment that could, you know, critically damage somebody, concuss them and give them, you know, punch drunk syndrome and that kind of shit. They're trying to cater to make it healthier. They don't want it pansy-ish. They don't want it softy, but at the same time, they need precautions in place. So people's lives could be, you know, extended. They can keep their sanity and shit like that. Yes, the boxers today are more defensively minded than the ones of the past. They were more aggressively minded. They had their defense, but they were aggressively minded. You know what I'm saying? So we get that. But what I'm saying, though, at the end of the day is, whether you like it or not, boxing as a sport evolved. And you want the next generation to be better than your generation. You don't want to be seen as the pinnacle of everything and boxing just going downhill. The fighter's not as skilled and anything. No, you don't want that, man. You don't want that. Yo, I went into 2 hours. It's 1:22 p.m. right now. I'm going to get out of here. I just thought I would share that with you guys. It's a bonus something. Share it with your friends and family. You know, I got much love for Roy Jones Jr. Don't get it twisted. I still listen to him. I think he was a phenomenal boxer. I think he has a lot of knowledge to impart to younger boxers. And he got especially advanced knowledge about the lead hand. And, you know, the beautiful thing about Roy is he will teach you how to move properly. You know, he'll teach you how to move properly. He'll teach you how to work in a certain kind of rhythm where you're unpredictable. That's another thing. Floyd and Roy, they really depended on unpredictability, how they placed their punches, what kind of punches, and also how they moved. And that was part of their defense as well. You know, Roy was, man, the dude was just advanced. Like I said before, he do all kind of shit that, you know, when you study boxing, you'd be like, oh shit, this ninja be doing stuff that I never seen before. You know, the way how he did it too. So yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys.